What's up, everybody? Today I'm sitting down with Mr. Gabe Ruth to get his thoughts leading into his fight on May 31st, this Saturday at HRMMA 125 in Bowling Green, Kentucky. How are you, brother?
I'm doing fantastic. How about you?
I'm great, man. Thank you so much for coming on. I've had quite a few people from this card come out, and I'm very excited for this weekend, so I can't wait to see you fight again. I got to see you fight at, I think it was the last HRMMA event, and you put on
Yep.
another spectacular performance. So thank you so much for taking out time to sit and talk with me. I know this is fight week, so it's been extra busy for you this week, but wanted to get started. What got you started fighting?
Man, that's a loaded question, but I'll try to sum it up nicely. So basically, I'd always been in martial arts since I was a little kid. My dad ran a dojo, and that was kind of our family business. So it was always there. But I grew up competing in sport karate, and when my dojo closed down in 2020, I sort of had all this skill and didn't know what to do with it. So I actually ended up following Eric Sanchez to Derby City MMA and just kind of trying it out. And I like the unique challenge of full contact fighting, so I got kind of into it, as well as BJJ, which I kind of did on its own for about a year and a half when I had moved out of state. And now I've fully dived into MMA, kind of following Eric's footsteps, and it feels the most complete as a martial artist. I feel when I'm in the small gloves and have that rule set, I can be myself the most as a martial artist. So I'd say that's kind of what got me into MMA fighting specifically.
Um, what what parts of the, like, I know you've done a lot of kickboxing stuff. What parts of that kind of were more natural for you than, I know you said you kind of just had started BJJ with Eric Sanchez and stuff. Did that kind of discipline going into that help you in your MMA career so far, you think?
I think first and foremost, just having the mindset of being a competitor and pushing yourself to new limits was always helpful at the start. But, as a karateka going into kickboxing, it's like I already have a full tool belt of kicks. And so really it was just learning how the footwork is different, how to box, um, and trying to make the most out of my karate weapons without carrying over habits that don't really work in this sport. So taking that to MMA has been a whole other thing in of itself because you can know how to kickbox and how to do jiu-jitsu, but to blend them at the same time, it's a completely different thing, it feels like. So I'm
Was
not sure if that answered your question.
Oh yeah. Um, what is there anything that's like surprised you or something that you didn't expect since you were transitioning to MMA?
Um, I would say the biggest surprise for me was how difficult jiu-jitsu can be because when someone's trying to hit you, you don't have time to stop and think in positions like you normally would in jiu-jitsu, which I had been doing for a little bit. So, I was confident, but I think that was probably the biggest surprise was coming in and realizing, oh, you actually have to constantly be fighting, even when you're in those chill moments.
Um, if anybody wants to go out and see your fight history, at least according to your amateur bouts on Tapology, you have under a minute and 19 seconds in the octagon. So you've had three brutal finishes across your kickboxing and MMA career, and I know you've competed in various other things besides that. But is there anything we can expect this Saturday different from the game plan that's been going in, without giving too much of your game plan away, obviously?
Yeah, those are secrets, but I will say this. I train to be a finisher. I think a lot of us at Derby City do. So that's the goal. The goal is to get the finish. Um, Whether it comes by a submission or by knockout or whatever, it doesn't matter to me. I try to just make sure I'm defensively sound, and I want to show all the cool moves I've been working on. I'm sure you guys have seen some of them kind of come out, but like you said, I don't have that much time in the ring yet, so there's still a lot I haven't shown.
With that, with having such quick knockouts and stuff, do you think? How do you feel your gas tank is if this fight happens to go past the first round?
So again, I know I said I trained to be a finisher, but I also trained to go to the distance because I have anxiety. So I don't want to go into a fight wondering what if. So I feel like the gas tank should be good, but you never know with the adrenaline dump that you go through walking in the cage, and I've not went past the first round yet. So I'm really excited to see what that might look like when it does come. I don't know if it'll be this fight, but when I do end up going past the first round, I want to see what that feels like. It's a whole other part of the experience that I haven't got to do yet.
Talk to me some about Derby City. You guys have got a couple of like busy weeks coming up. Of course, yourself and Jesse Skaggs, Maheed Watkins, Eric Moore are coming up this weekend. Then you've got LFA 210 with Eden Hall, Emilio, and Eric Sanchez coming up in a few weeks. So y'all are heating up. How's the energy in the gym been this last couple?
That's a good way to put it. We're heating up. I would say in the last year, which is kind of when I started getting into MMA, you see some people come in and out of camp and it gets busier. So there's been times where it was literally just me and Eric Sanchez just drilling. Um, but if you keep coming, you'll start noticing the gym has gotten more and more. I can't think of a better term than heating up. As far as fighters who are active and working really hard when they train, I think we have a good tone, if that makes sense. With our training, it's serious, it's focused. We have fun and we talk to each other. We're not like all super serious and acting like enemies, but we still compete with each other. So I think there's this really healthy competition blooming in the gym, and we all kind of sharpen each other because we're trying to figure each other out when we spar, when we drill. And man, I am so excited to see my teammates fight and not just myself. Like, I want to show the cool skills that I've been working on, but they've been doing the same thing. So I can't wait to see how they've evolved. Particularly the LFA card is going to be exciting because these are people who are starting to really get their game together. So I think we're going to see some complete game coming out in the LFA. All of these guys are monsters. So that's sort of the quick rundown of what's going on with Derby City's training.
I'm kind of new to the whole regional MMA scene myself. Just started off. Me and my buddies went to it was a made men card either last year or the year before, and so we started kind of getting into it pretty heavy then. But even since then, I've noticed like Kentucky and this region, especially like Ohio, Indiana, Tennessee, it's really getting like the pace is picking up with the MMA scene, and then LFA obviously came
Yeah,
last
it's
year,
strange.
and so it's cool to see it in real time. Like you can tell that like things are kind of spooling back up a little bit for this, and I'm glad
I've
to
heard
see.
people in the past say it's a dying sport, which I just don't believe. I actually think it's an evolving sport. It may appear that way at times, but like you just said, in this region alone, we're already seeing more and more interest kind of snowball. So
Yeah, I know.
I hope that keeps going.
I do too. I love going to all these events. I know also in between this card and LFA, I believe the Future of Fighting has another card going up, and they're recently or a fairly
Yeah.
new Philip Perkins started that up, and their production is great as well. But I started out my first like coverage of any event was with Brandon when he came to Bowling Green, starting back. I think it was one. It was the Return to Bowling Green card. I'm not sure what number card it was, but um, ever since then, I've just noticed like there's just the OCL and a bunch of different promotions are kind of just popping up, and I didn't. Maybe it just wasn't because I wasn't tuned into it or something, but it just seems like it's really the pace is coming
I'm
up.
still fairly new to it myself.
So,
I live a pretty busy life, so um, I'm connected where I can be, but I'm recently more, I guess, immersed into the MMA scene. So I'm learning all these things and the history of everything. So
you spoke on it a little bit, but is there anything in particular that you would like to like see yourself add to your skill set and your tool belt as you go into the future of your career here?
Just in general, like moving forward. Yeah. So I've recently gotten very interested in judo. I've had some exposure in the past when I was younger. I mean, they taught it in karate schools. They're both Japanese martial arts, so there's gonna be some overlap there. But I just think it's really cool and really applicable in MMA. You see a lot of high level MMA fighters use it, and then also in jiu-jitsu. So I think judo is going to be a really big part of my game in the future.
Speaking of the Japanese aspect of it, I see on your social media and stuff you're a big fan of like anime and different things like that. Do you think that your love for anime contributed to your love for martial arts, or vice versa? Do you think that maybe because of the martial arts you got more into the?
That's a funny question because it seems like there's a whole generation now coming out in MMA of people who just love anime and they want to be the anime character. I'll say yeah to that because obviously I have all the other things that have inspired my martial arts career, but anime is a big part of it too. You know, one of my biggest goals in life is to just be a real life anime character. So
Like Eric and his Power Ranger, he wants to be a real life Power Ranger.
pretty much, like if you watch Dragon Ball, I used to watch the guys go Super Saiyan, and I was just like, I can't wait till I can figure out how to go Super Saiyan. And I love them all. Naruto, One Piece, those are all the big names, but I like a lot of smaller shows that are less well known. I think I just like the art of animated shows in general, but particularly there's this genre called shonen, and it's like the young guy who's got to push himself past his limits and find a way to become this new animal. So that's kind of pretty. It's a pretty good analogy for fighting.
I think it's
And
cool
if
when
you
people
like
can.
martial arts, a lot of those shows have really cool fight scenes, and so I take some of my inspiration for like moves to do and whatnot from that.
I like that people can kind of like use media like that to relate and kind of give themselves like a goal to like work towards like that. I think it's a cool like
That's what art's
mindset
about,
thing.
man. It's
So,
about inspiring.
speaking of inspiring, if you could give anybody some advice who's wanting to get into the like combat sports in general, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I mean, first I would say figure out why. Why do you want to do it? Make sure you're doing it for the right reasons because I feel like a lot of people they really struggle to find motivation in training and it's because they don't even know why they're there. So, I think once I started to figure that out, it really gave me a drive like never before. So, first that and then second, make sure that you have fun cuz no matter what your reasons are, it's hard to stay like super ingrained in something if you don't enjoy it at all. It's like working a job you hate. Why we're not doing this to work a job. We're doing it for love of the sport. So make sure that love's always there, even in training. That would be my advice. But I'm on my second cage fight, so let's take it with a grain of salt.
So, what is your kind of? I know you spoke a little bit about it. Going forward, post this fight, what would your like roadmap look like? You think?
After this fight, I want to fight actually for Brandon in August. He has a card in Shepherdsville, which is where I did my first fight. And I'm like, that's close to home, good promotion, sounds perfect timing for me. So I think I want to do that for my next fight. I already told him I'm interested. Before then, I think a jiu-jitsu tournament would be cool. Just keep that competitive brain fresh and do something different. Maybe something a little less intense than a cage fight. So, yeah, I basically want to keep developing all aspects of my game um, evenly, and then who knows, man? Maybe in the next couple years, we're looking at pro. I doubt I'll do amateur for a few more years, especially if I keep sleeping people in the first round.
Yeah, if you keep this performance up, I don't see you being an amateur for very long at all. I mean,
Well, we'll see.
your fights have been super awesome to watch. I do some photography on the side for different fight promotion and stuff, and I did some photos of the card that you run in Shepherdsville there, and that was awesome. My
Oh,
friends,
that's cool.
we kind of did. That was our first time we'd actually done a video. There's three of us that work and kind of do these videos, but the other two have kind of got busy, so they haven't been on as much. But they, when we were going into doing the fight prediction video, they were like, "You got to keep a lookout for Gabe Ruth, dude. He is a killer." And so they did not lie. You did not disappoint. So
I got a lot of tricks. So, yeah, I'm trying to challenge myself with the opponents that I get because, it's amateur and this is the time to get experience. So, they say this guy wrestled in high school, which makes him kind of the perfect next matchup for me. I need that test to show that I can handle that, especially someone who's a little bouncy, which it seems like he kind of has. So, yeah, I'm real excited to see what it looks like to fight him. Because, watching the fight when you're right there in front of the opponent is completely different than watching from the outside.
mm.
So it'd be nice to have a little more film of myself.
What did it feel like the first time you stepped into the cage there? Can you describe the feeling?
Well, the feeling walking up, I was very grateful and just excited to be there and finally reach the peak of this mountain that I'd been climbing. But stepping in the cage, it gets very real. It's like, especially when they shut it, it's like, oh, I'm about to fight somebody, like really fight somebody, not boxing gloves, and it feels very primal in a way, like you're a gladiator. But I kind of like that. So yeah, I'd say that's pretty much the summary.
I bring up that analogy a lot. We go to like these arenas and stuff, and it's just a bunch of people kind of in a bowl looking down. And I'm like, this is just exactly what the gladiators and stuff
We've been doing the
felt
same
like.
things for thousands of years, man.
So I just wanted to talk a little bit. I know on social media you do quite a bit of stuff outside of fighting. So what are some of your interests outside of the cage?
Yeah, I think that might come as a surprise to some. I usually have been pretty reserved about it because, well, I honestly think in the past it was out of fear of judgment, but now I don't really care. So, I'm a musician. I actually was a singer in high school. I was a choir boy, and I did Governor's School of the Arts and all-state choir. So I was a big singer and got into guitar. Did a little guitar in college, and so I've been singing and playing guitar for a while now, and I still do it. I love it. I enjoy it. Music's almost, I would say, it's just as important to me as fighting is. I don't. I'm not doing the things that I do in fighting with for music, but that's why I'm occasionally I'll post videos of that, and I'd like to continue developing that part of my life. But that's just one other thing. I'm a traveler. I've recently gotten into editing videos and just trying to have fun with creating content. And I'm also a business intelligence engineer. So, man of many interests. But that was what I went to school for, and that was kind of my career. The fighting was always there for me. So, I kind of have these three parts of my life balancing at all times where it's like I'm a fighter, I'm a musician, artist, creator, whatever you want to call it, and then I'm an engineer. What those will look like in the future is hard to say, but the main thing is I want to keep developing parts of my life that matter to me. So I'll always be a fighter, but I'll also always be an artist and a creator.
I've seen some of your videos. I mean, you're doing a great job, and I've seen that you play guitar and
Thank
stuff.
you, man. That means a lot.
I play guitar as well, and it just I feel like that's a one of the coolest instruments ever. I just I just love when I can watch other people play
You
guitar.
got to practice. That's the downside. You got to practice it.
Yeah, I've been a little bit out of practice. I played a lot in high school and in college, but after I got out of college, I've kind of slacked up a little bit. But what?
Man, I just learned how to strum. That's the easy way to do it is you just learn some chords and transition between them.
what's your what's your on your playlist right now? What do you like to listen to? And do you have a walkout song picked out for
I
the
do have a
fights?
walkout song picked out. I actually kind of wanted to do a little bit of a throwback. I kind of want to keep it a surprise though.
Okay, that's fine.
But I wanted to do something a little more retro that I heard when I was younger training, and because I was born in Bowling Green, in case nobody knew, and that's where I'm fighting. So in a way, it kind of feels uh, like I'm being pulled back to my past, my karate roots. A lot of my family lives there, so yeah, I wanted something that kind of took me back that way as far as walkouts go. But man, when I'm telling you that I'm one of those people that listens to it all, I'm not just saying it. I really do, man. I'll listen to, like I said, I listen to a lot lately, a lot of oldies. I like old soul music. Um, I like old funk, classic rock. I like metal. I like dubstep, actually, and a lot of EDM type music. I listen to Japanese rock. I really just listen to it all, man. I listen to a lot of pop music. Like I said, I'm a singer, so if I can sing along with it, I probably like it. Or if it has any kind of melody to it, I'll probably enjoy it.
My
I like
friends,
complex rhythms too.
my friends and I talk a lot about like it's really personally annoying to us that like people can be so single minded in music. And I know sometimes you like have a favorite preference, but like we listen to the whole gambit. Like our playlists are just complete
It
whatever.
depends on
And
the mood.
yeah,
Like if I'm about to go to training, I'm either throwing on like rap, hip hop, or dubstep. That's like my go-to before training.
well, is there anything else you'd like to say before we get out of here? Or anybody you'd like to shout out or any of your sponsors or anything?
First I want to say thank you to Kenny Marine for being my gold sponsor for this fight. Um, Devin, you're the man. I appreciate you. I also want to say, go follow at the underscore Louisville underscore slugger, the Louisville slugger on Instagram. That's my Instagram page where I've been doing a lot of my content creation. I'm sort of figuring out what kind of art I like to make. So, also just want to shout out my teammates and Ben Fowler, my coach, who's really tried to make me the best version of myself in this camp. So,
All right, guys.
and thank you to you.
Oh well, thank you so much for being on here. It means a lot. It means so much to have all these guys on and talking about just their experience and stuff, and just making like the sport so fun. Everybody's so nice, and everybody's like I haven't had a bad experience with anybody yet. And
It's a tight community, and I gotta say, you're my first interview
awesome. Well,
ever.
it's an honor to be your first interview because me and like I said, me and my friends were like really hyped for your fight. So that was one of the moments. Like the
Well,
whole
I hope I can
place,
get you some good pictures, man.
they all jumped up, and the whole arena went crazy when you got that knockout the last time. So we're excited to
Yeah,
see
they
it
said it
again.
might be knockout of the year. I'm hoping this one's the knockout of the year.
You get two nominations, make it rig the game a little bit. So. All right, guys. Well, go out and get your tickets for HRMMA 125. It's May 31st this Saturday in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Come out and support a great card and all these awesome guys and girls fighting. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next time.